And welcome back to Contemporary Black Voices, where our topic today is Burkina Faso. There's a lot to learn and study when we talk about this country in Africa. So Caleb was leading the discussion, and we're going to go back to him.
Yeah. So before the break, we were just talking about some of the things that this gentleman had done, and so again, he taken control of their resources. The man went and bought high quality premium seeds, and he's distributed the seeds to the farmers. So now they're becoming more self sufficient, growing their own food with high quality crops. And so one of the tricks that the West uses, they use uh, genetically modified seeds, which have a timestamp on them. So they may produce crops this year, not next year, or they produce less and less. So you have to keep going back and buying crops over and over again. He stopped that, and he bought real seeds that are going to continue to produce and make Burkina Faso food sufficient. He bought hundreds of tractors, and he distributed them to again help make the Burkina Faso food sufficient.
I'd also heard that he said he was going to give the land to the people, and the government was going to help them to cultivate the land.
They are.
No charge.
So they are. That's one of the things. They're with the government helping them cultivate the land. With the they bought generators and helping to irrigate the land and tractors and seeds and all this kind of stuff. So that's all part of that program to make them self-sufficient. Hey, we don't have to import food. They've also improved their cotton production, rice, millet, everything across the board. Again, they're going to be energy efficient with the nuclear power plant, processing their own gold. Like Doc said, they did start their own EV facility, so they're producing their own vehicles, producing their own clothes. And so this man is just, like I
He
said,
brought cotton in.
well, that area, Burkina Faso, Mali, and the Sahel, they've always produced cotton.
But they were exporting it, right?
So they were exporting cotton.
Yeah.
Now they are. I mean, he's produced textile mills as well.
Yeah, because he was saying, I'm the only president that you will see that's wearing the garments of my people.
From my country.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's impressive in that, to your point, he also drives just a regular vehicle, and everybody who reports to him has to drive a regular vehicle. In other words, we shouldn't be seeing in these Mercedes and Bentleys and whatevers.
Yep.
Just get a regular car so that the people can connect better to you.
He still lives in the same house. Mm-hmm. There's no massive, I mean, it's just he walks amongst the people.
Let me read this if you guys don't mind. It says on April 30th, mass demonstrations were held from Africa to Europe to the United States and the Caribbean to say Western powers and neo-colonialism, hands off Toure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that is a powerful message. You have people who are sleeping in the streets around the government offices saying that they're willing to die and protect this man.
You had Putin even say it.
You have. So what ended up happening is the president. The chairman, Black Marine Corps General, who was the head of the Africa Command,
Langley.
So he in congressional testimony, he made a statement saying that Traore spends his country's resources on his personal protection, right? And it was like the opening salve of a message that we hear time and time again. That's how they start to demonize African leaders. So we saw it. There was another young president of Burkina Faso who was assassinated by the West, Thomas Sankara.
Ooh, wow.
And so it's Traore is like in the image of Tom Sank. Mm-hmm. And so you see it, Patrice Lumumba, Amilcar Cabral. So I mean, you've had every time an African leader rises, who's dedicated to his people, who's not taking bribes, they can't bribe him, they can't, you know what I mean? And he's strictly about uplifting his country and his folks.
Let's talk about Langley. Him being a black man, head of military in the U.S. Mm-hmm. And let me read to you what they said. It says in April 3rd, U.S. Senate hearings, General Langley accused Captain Toure, without providing evidence, of the missing his country's gold reserves to benefit himself and not the Burkina people. In a statement released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Corporation, and the Burkina, which is, I guess, the name they say for Burkina Faso, Burkina commanders remarked, it's described as a statement as unjustified and political biased.
Yeah.
So the question that I was going to ask you is, this being a black man, is he just carrying the water? I mean, should he?
And who are you talking about? Langley?
Langley.
Okay.
Langley. Yeah. Should he? I mean, it's kind of like another Colin Powell type of situation. Right. You know, he's there. He's working for the military, for the U.S. military, but, you know, you're going against your brothers, okay? So, I don't know. I feel a little bit funny about this.
I mean, it's always a black hand that actually pulls the trigger.
Right.
It was, you know what I mean? It was black forces that actually captured Patrice Lumumba. It was Thomas Sankara's friend who actually killed him on behalf of France. And so it's always a black hand that actually gets close enough to you that pulls the trigger.
Okay.
But Michael Langley.
Yeah.
So, you know, he came up, coming up in this country, rising through the U.S. military, making that statement. You know what I mean? And so, you understand the statement and you understand who he answers to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, you understand who his loyalties are to. Being a 4-star general, his loyalties are to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, the interests of the United States are not in the interest of the people in the diaspora or the African people.
And it makes you have to go against your own people.
Yeah.
You know, one of the questions that, we need to talk about here is, why should we as Black Americans even care about what's going on in Burkina Faso? And the second question I have is, what can our current Black leaders, what are the key takeaways that our current Black leaders can take watching the rise of Burkina Faso in terms of their leadership? And with that, we're going to go ahead.
We'll get back.
Yeah, we go ahead and talk about that. We're going to go ahead and take a short break, and we'll see you back.